Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start this video, I want to read to you a comment that was left for me on the last video I made. Bugatti Veyron Lamborghini Gold Digger Prank. Our narcissistic society. As this comment will set the stage for what I'm going to talk about. Okay. Here we go. I agree. Narcissists can be both men and women with a demon. The Jezebel spirit in them. I have seen women who are total beaches, demanding, rude, self-centered, will cuss at a man and have meltdowns in public and the guy puts up with it. I was in a store once in line waiting to pay for my items and there was a couple ahead of me. Probably in their early 30s. The man wanted a candy bar. He tried to put a candy bar in the shopping cart. This woman, wife or girlfriend, went nuts. We are on a budget. Now you put that back right now. I was so embarrassed for him. She acted like he was 2 years old and needed to be verbally reprimanded. All over a candy bar. All she did was brought attention to herself. Apparently the only one who was allowed to shop and spend money was her. As indicated in the extra nice clothing she was wearing. He just stood there and yes, he did put the candy bar back. I often think back to that time and wonder what he could have done. Had he yelled back at her, it would have been considered being abusive towards a woman. He could have just walked outside maybe. I just hope he left the relationship and could see it for what it really was. He was being used and abused. I first want to thank Lori for this comment. Because there's a lot in here I want to talk about in conjunction with my last video. You see, I've been on YouTube for years, talking about narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic families, helping both men and women, and yes, also speaking out for men's rights. I never take the approach to curse women out, and act like every woman walking planet Earth is bad. To the contrary. I love speaking to the women on my channel with the issues they might have. And also how they can make a better change for our world by speaking up regarding the ills of our society. I also often watch other female YouTubers that aren't blind anymore and can see clearly what's going on. I love when I see a woman that really gets it. I don't subscribe to the all women are bad type thing. I don't act or behave, as some like to say, bitter, or scorned, or just like a man that has been done wrong too many times. I try to approach things with a level head and spirit. Yet when I make a video talking about double standards between the sexes, I'm seen as I was done wrong. I'm bitter. Or I need to have more faith in humanity. And here's where the problem lies. Most men are scared to speak the truth for fear of getting labeled. And what's interesting, in majority of my videos, where I speak about the double standards between men and women, I majority of the time point out where men do wrong as well. But somehow it gets missed. And the message is lost. It's just a big mishearing what is actually being said. And understanding what the facts are. And how this comment relates to this topic is this. We live in a feminist-driven society. That's a fact. There's no arguing this fact. When feminists want something, no matter it be fair or not, they usually get their way by bullying, labeling, and shaming both men and women to get what they want. And no one dare opposes them because they don't want to deal with it. So they just let it go. And in this comment it lets you see what life is really like for the average person. You see, narcissistic personality disorder takes many forms. It can be from your boss, your parents, your neighbor, or your spouse. And when we have a bad experience in one of these realms, or other realms of abuse that are out there, it proves one thing. Anyone has the capacity for evil. Both men and women. That being said, we live in a world where women's narcissistic personality disorder is protected, pushed on the youth, and normalized. And talking about this doesn't somehow lessen women that have been abused by men. Speaking up about this doesn't somehow say Women can't be taken for a ride by an evil swindler or a so-called man. Because it happens all the time. There are some evil guys out there, just waiting for a nice kind woman to take advantage of. However, what it's saying is we live in a society where the swindler man, that evil guy that mistreats women, is seen as a dog. No down good for nothing loser. As well he should be seen that way. But the woman that does the same thing is seen as normal by our society standards set by the feminist agenda. And that's a problem. You see, this comment Lori left points out something very clear. This woman felt like it was okay to raise hell in public. And why would that be, you might ask? Because she knew no one would interfere. No one would call the police. And no one would care. And this man was more than likely scared, like most men. Because men know if they react at all, they are a stone's throw away from jail. If he yells back, yes, he would be seen as abusive. Someone would have more than likely walked by in mid-yell, and would have said, "Hey buddy, do I need to call the cops on you?" If it turned physical, he wouldn't be able to react back. Not even hold her arms down. Because touching her in any way constitutes assault, which would require him to be arrested. Should he have walked away? Maybe. But maybe he knew if he did, that all hell would break loose when he got home. Were they married? If so, would it be out of the realm of him being scared to lose it all to leave her? These are the things that feminism has brought to our society. I don't say marriage is dangerous for men because I get some pleasure out of it. Because I don't. I say marriage in regards to getting the state involved makes it dangerous for men in most, not all, but most situations. The man has literally no control over what happens in his home and with his children because of the feminist society we are living in. Think about our social norms for a second. Do we not hear reporters and hosts of TV shows refer to the female in a couple being interviewed as the boss? Don't we hear the man in such a situation state, "Yes, his wife is the boss. I better do what she says if I know what's good for me." And everyone just eats it up. Now is pointing out and how if a man said, "I'm the boss and whatever I say goes," he would be forced off of TV. He would be forced to apologize. And calling this out somehow makes a man bitter, angry. Or your mother pushed you over the edge, or your ex-wife pushed you over the edge. No. No. No, I just have eyes that can see. And ears that can hear. But what happens is, even though all this craziness, feminist weirdness is going on around us, where masculinity is stomped out at every corner and turn, and women are being trained up to be over men. If someone's experience doesn't match up to what's going on in society, and you point out what's going on in society, there becomes a problem, where there should be no problem at all. And trust me, I don't have any issue when someone gets to feeling a certain way, when their issue isn't addressed the way they want it to be addressed. I get it. We've all been through a lot. And it hurts bad. But, and here's the but, our experience might not match what society's ills and norms are. And if that's the case, it doesn't mean you were wronged any less. Heck yes. You were still wronged and it was terrible. A terrible thing. But society is still marching to this feminist drum. You better believe it. And men have little room to speak up and be heard. Because if they do, they are told to sit down basically. Did you know whenever someone gets a men's shelter going, feminists show up and get it shut down? Did you know whenever men meet up to speak about men's rights, and also have women guest speakers, feminists show up and protest outside and have the event end early due to the chaos? Lori's comment is so important. This man had no real way out of that situation. No matter what he would have done, it would have gone bad for him. And it was in public. It wasn't hidden. It was in public and it was accepted. Feminists have made abusing men accepted and normal. And they are stripping away the rights and masculinity of men that might be your future partners. Or even your sons. So when a man stands up and speaks out, don't take the stance that he's just a bitter man. Or he's been burned way too many times. And that's why he's like that. No, maybe he's speaking the truth and is trying to help not only men but he's also trying to help women too. And by taking the stance of, he's just bitter or he was hurt too many times, you lose the message. And you become like a drowning victim that isn't letting the person that's jumping in the water trying to help you actually do what he's trying to do. And that's help you. Are there some MGTOW guys out there I've talked about before that are using the men's rights movement to hate on women? Yes. There are. But there are many men out there that have just woke up. These are good men. Masculine men. Bible-believing men. Men not afraid of committed relationships. But no longer want the state to be part of what they do in their home with the woman in their life. There is plenty of mention of marriage in the Bible. But nowhere does it talk about state marriages where the state or government is a third party to this business or corporate agreement. And many men are saying, this isn't of the Most High God. This isn't what I should be doing. This is just wrong. And these men that are sure of themselves. These men that get the big picture. These men that have honor and integrity. Men that are standing for something instead of falling for anything. Are potentially good men. Women you will want to have in your life. Remember, not every man that talks about MGTOW and men's rights are the same. Just like not everyone that talks about narcissism is the same. But the longer we ignore that feminists are running things now, the way we get married, the way we get divorced, what our children learn in schools and what they learn in society is based on their model. And it's to ruin both men and women. And to turn women against every good man out there. And strip every good man of his masculinity so he won't be able to protect the good women nor his children. Something to think about. Well, that's all I have for now. Thanks so much for the support. Don't forget to share, subscribe and pass this and all my other videos around. Let's start waking up more minds. Because that's what it's all about. Like I always say, knowledge and wisdom is power. The more we know, the more we can lead happy and healthy lives. Until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.